tension is in the air at this meeting. You can feel it. The colorful tents of the 12 tribes of Israel spread out across the valley of Shechem. The king is coming to them on their turn instead of them coming to him on his. And the whole assembly of Israel says to him, Rehoboam, your father put a heavy yoke on us. Lighten the harsh labor and the heavy yoke, and we'll serve you. Rehoboam's father Solomon, for all of his wisdom, didn't at the end take his own wisdom. He strayed from it. And he overplayed his hand. He had slaved those people to build his magnificent kingdom. It was magnificent. And it was mainly those people, those 9 tribes in the north, who did the grunt work. And now, there's a building. Now they're asking Rehoboam, the son, to pay it. You know what it's like to inherit the debts of a loved one? You know, somebody dies, you go through the papers, there's back rent. Back rent, or else the rest of the family gets evicted. There's car payments haven't been paid, or else the family has their vehicle repossessed. There's pawn tickets, there's dry cleaning, there's a tab at the little store down the street. It could be Rehoboam surprised to hear all this. Didn't expect it. He might have been out of touch because maybe he's been living the life of a rich kid who never realized who it was paying the freight on all that luxury he was enjoying. Tooth Fairy only gave me $50, says this spoiled rich kid. He's not sure what to say. He's not sure what to say. Oh, there it is. Not sure what to say. Which is where everybody in this room has been and will be again at certain junctures in life. I'm your father, but I don't have the answer to that. I'm your mother, but I'm going to need to think about this for a while. I'm the officer in charge, the OIC, but Sergeant, I have no idea what to do next. Rehoboam answers, let me get back to you. So the people go away for 3 days. Now, I don't know about you, but I was never taught that sentence. In my house, I was expected to always have answers. And so my tendency in life to this very day is to speak before I think. It is against my grain to say, you know, let me get back to you on that. My wife often counsels me about needing to say that. I just wasn't taught that. Then King Rehoboam, he consults the elders who served his father Solomon during his lifetime. How would you advise me to answer these people, he asks. So far, his dad would have been proud. He said, let me get back to you. Let me think about that. Then he consults the elders. I hope he was praying besides, but he asks the elders for some advice. You guys have been with these people before. I haven't. Am I in danger of losing them as subjects if I'm too hard? Or if I'm too soft, will they take it as a sign of weakness and then I won't be able to rule them? Parents ask themselves this all the time. Serve them, the elders say. Don't lord it over them. It's how the Lord planned for the king of this chosen nation, his chosen nation, different than all the nations in the world, to be. This isn't like any other kingdom. You can't You can't get your clues from the neighbors. But then, Rehoboam asks his peers what they think. A group no further down the road than he is. Just as spoiled, just as out of touch with how those people out there, those 9 tribes, really live. And there was a poll taken recently. Whom do you trust a great deal was the question. And the 19 to 49-year-olds answered this way. How many of you really trust used car salesmen? 3%. Those are the used car salesmen. Corporate CEOs. 3%. Member of Congress, 11% on that one. The president, 31. Your neighbors, 27%. Those are the East Siders. They trust their neighbors. The rest of the people, not so sure. 27%. Your religious leaders. Ready for this? Pastor John, ready for this? 49%. Shame on half of you. Shame on you. We're going to take them off our Christmas card list, Pastor. Your doctor, Doug, a little piece of news for you. 56%. You beat us. Your best friends forever. 79%. So, Rehoboam consults his best friends. When a princess of France was told that her starving people had no bread, she replied, well then, let them eat cake. The French Revolution happened not long afterwards. Similar situation to Rehoboam, seething foment among the people. Tell them, his friends advised, that my father laid on you a heavy yoke. I'll make it even heavier. He scourged you with whips. I'll scourge you with scorpions. 3 days later, that is exactly what Rehoboam says. Let them eat cake. Little does he know that he's not simply making a decision, he's choosing a path. One with a destination he can't foresee, but one his father's counselors can. When all of Israel hears this, they rebel and remain in rebellion from then on. With a dozen words, Rehoboam opens the door to 400 years of strife and brings on the deaths of generations and generations of his own people. How incredibly easier it is, this is worth writing down, to break up what belongs together. How incredibly easier it is to break up what belongs together than to put back together what's been broken apart. Everybody agree with that? We've all seen that happen. His father Solomon and grandfather David had had peace with all those tribes for 80 years. Those elders knew how they pulled it off. They knew how to map quest Rehoboam from where he was then to where he wanted to be. And all of us today are where we are now, and we have places we want to be. We're in Rehoboam's situation. Rehoboam could have avoided what turned into his greatest regret, if only he'd sought out and listened to somebody wise. And at the end of the day, when you and I finally reap the results of our misguided decisions, we're not the only ones who suffer. We can't just say, oh no, this is my business. Every decision we make that hurts us also hurts the people who love us most. And those who depend on us most will be hurt the most. I want to finish with a running story for Noe this morning. Very quickly, on December 2nd, 2012, a Spanish long-distance runner named Fernandez Anaya was competing in a cross-country race in the Spanish countryside. Anaya was running in second place, well behind the race leader, the Kenyan runner and Olympic medalist Abel Mutai. And as they entered the finishing stretch, Mutai, the certain winner of the race, suddenly stopped running. Apparently, he mistakenly thought he'd already crossed the finish line. Anaya quickly caught up with him, but instead of exploiting Mutai's mistake, he stayed behind and using gestures guided the Kenyan to the line and let him cross first. Surprisingly, Anaya's coach, a famous Spanish runner, was disappointed with Anaya's display of sportsmanship. He said, "He's wasted an occasion. Winning always makes you more of an athlete. You have to go out and win no matter what the cost." But Anaya stood by his decision. He told reporters, "Even if they told me that winning would have earned me a place in the European Championships, I wouldn't have done it. Because today, with the way things are in all circles, in soccer, in society, in politics, where it seems anything goes, a gesture of honesty goes down well." What's the Lord saying to us today? Two things. You know, we could have avoided what turned into our greatest regret if only we'd sought out and listened to somebody wise. And that's hard. I know that's hard. It's hard for me. Number one, we'll never get to the place where we want to go, to the place where we no longer need wise counsel. Now, where do we get wise counsel? Two places, and Doug referred to one of them. Number one, Wednesday night group here. It's a Bible study, it's a prayer time, but it's also a gathering of people who care about Jesus and who are wise. That's the place to be. Group is number one. There are other groups too, and they're wise, that's great. But we can guarantee a Christian group here. Number two, our counselor. We have a counselor here on Mondays and sometimes Thursdays. See us for that phone number and get counsel. We'll never get to the place where we no longer need it. Number two, we'll never reach our full God-ordained potential without tapping into the wisdom of others. We know what we know, that's all we know. We've experienced what we experience, that's the total of our experience. Counselors see more than other people. Please stand.